The word made fresh, a daily delight. Manna for today, a podcast shining bright. Manna for today podcast.
Welcome everybody to another deep dive. You know, the really big one, right to the heart of it all. Genesis chapter 1. We're going to be talking creation. We're going to be talking cosmos. We're going to be talking about what it means to be human.
Let's do it.
So get ready, because this isn't just the creation story. You might have heard this before, maybe around a campfire or something like that. We're going way deeper than that today. We're going beyond the surface reading to uncover some really cool layers of meaning and, honestly, some mystery.
It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
A lot of mystery.
Our journey begins with these iconic words, in the beginning. To set the scene, let's actually hear those first 5 verses straight from the source, Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and desolate, and there was darkness upon the surface of the watery deep, and God's active force was moving about over the surface of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. After that, God saw that the light was good, and God began to divide the light from the darkness. God called the light day, but the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, a first day. Yeah. Now, one of the things about Genesis, right, that I think is so interesting is how it plays with our understanding of time. Like when it says day, does it actually mean, 24 hours? Like we understand a day. Like I'm thinking about my day. I've got to get this. I've got to get that.
Right. The day to day.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, I think that's a question that's intrigued theologians and scholars for like centuries, right? What's fascinating here is that the Hebrew word for day, yom, it can actually mean different lengths of time. It's not just a literal day on the calendar.
So we're talking like epochs, right?
Yes.
Vast stretches of time, like those nature documentaries, where they condense like millions of years
Exactly.
in like a minute. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and our sources actually suggest that understanding day in this broader sense as, like you're saying, these ages, these epochs, it not only honors the poetic language of the Bible, but it also aligns with a lot of scientific understanding of the universe's formation.
Yeah. It's like that quote from Robert Jastrow, the astrophysicist, where he talks about how like both science and scripture, in a way, point to this like sudden, sharp beginning, right, for this whole chain of events that leads to us. And honestly, it kind of like sends shivers down my spine when I really think about it.
Oh, it is awe-inspiring, isn't it? And I love that it really underscores that we can find harmony between faith and reason, right?
Yeah.
And that can lead to a richer understanding, I think, of both.
Totally. Harmony over conflict.
Here you go.
I love it. Okay, so with this broader view of day in mind, let's kind of walk through the 6 days of creation, just kind of unpacking the wonder that unfolds, right, in each one.
Let's do it.
Day 1, light bursts forth,
Yeah.
piercing the darkness. Day 2, there's a separation, right? This vast expanse of the heavens above, the waters gathered below. Day 3, dry land rises from the waters, just like teeming with plant life. And then this is where it gets, I think, really mind-blowing, for me at least, day 4. Imagine, if you will, this sky filled with, I don't know, maybe some kind of hazy light, and then suddenly blazing with the brilliance of the sun, the moon, stars, like all coming into view.
Oh, man.
Like for the first time.
Yeah.
What a spectacle that was.
And a sight, right. And our sources offer a really thought-provoking explanation for this. So while light itself existed from the beginning, right, a dense atmospheric haze might have initially obscured, the distinct forms of the sun, the moon, the stars. So day 4 may not be about their creation as much as their grand unveiling.
Yeah, it's like the earth taking this like deep breath, and this atmosphere is clear, and then suddenly, bam!
Damn,
Cosmos.
Yeah.
In full glory.
It's on display, yeah. And again, it speaks to that idea that Genesis, it's not confined by rigid literalism. It's using these vivid images to convey these profound truths about the creator and creation itself.
Truths that still resonate.
Yes.
Thousands of years later.
Thousands of years.
All right, so we've got light, we've got the sky and the sea, we've got land bursting with the vegetation, and now the heavens are like just ablaze with stars.
Yeah.
Where does this incredible symphony, I don't know, how would you put it, this like symphony of creation?
Yeah, masterpiece, yeah.
Where does it lead us next?
Well, on day 5, the waters come alive. It's like a painter splashing color across a canvas. God creates this staggering array of sea creatures, right? I mean,
Wow.
from like the tiny fish to massive whales, and then he fills the skies with birds. Every imaginable feather and form,
It's like this planet is pulsing now.
it's moving.
It's moving with life. And, okay, I can't wait to hear about day 6. This is where we come in, right?
This is it. This is the big one, right? So
Yeah.
day 6 marks the appearance of land animals. But it also holds one of the most debated and profound verses in all of Scripture, Genesis 1.26. So we've got the stage set, basically. Light, a planet that can support life, plants, animals. Feels like we're getting to the grand finale.
And what a finale it is. Day 6 is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Genesis 1.26 tells us, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness.'"
Okay, now that is intriguing. It's like we're eavesdropping on a divine planning session or something. And you know I love those aha moments. Who is God talking to here? Angels. Some other heavenly council. Spill the beans.
To really unravel this, we need to bring in some backup verses, things from other parts of Scripture. And trust me, for someone who loves aha moments, this is where it gets good.
Okay, lay it on me. Who is this us involved in making humans?
All right, buckle up. Let's go to Proverbs 8.30. It talks about Jesus, before he came to earth, described as a master craftsman, right there alongside God.
Whoa, hold on. Master craftsman. You're saying Jesus was involved in creation even before his human form.
You got it. And it gets even wilder. Colossians 1.16 tells us that everything, and I mean everything, was made through him. Not just by God, but through Jesus.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. So we're not even talking Trinity here, right? Like God being 3 in 1. This is Jesus as a distinct being working with God the Father.
Exactly. Not another God, but a partnership. A father-son collaboration on a cosmic scale. And suddenly, Genesis 1.26 makes so much more sense. Let us make man in our image. It all clicks. God bringing Jesus in on this incredible act of creation, making humans to reflect both of them.
But does that mean Jesus and God are equal in power, like two sides of the same coin?
It's easy to jump to that conclusion, but that's not really what it's saying. God is still the ultimate creator, the one in charge. It's more about how God chooses to create. It's through relationship, through this incredible partnership with his son.
Okay, I'm starting to see the distinction.
Think of like a master artist, someone at the top of their game. They could easily hoard all their knowledge and skill, right? But instead, they choose to take on an apprentice, someone to share their passion with, someone to teach and mentor. It doesn't diminish their own skill. It just adds to the beauty of the creative process.
Beautiful analogy. Okay, so we're talking about shared creation, not a power struggle. But how does this all fit with the way Jesus himself talked about creation? Our listener also shared that bit from Matthew 19.4-6.
Great point. Even when Jesus is directly quoting from Genesis, even when he's talking about God creating humans, male and female, he always defers to God the Father. There's this beautiful humility there.
Right, it's like even though we're recognizing Jesus' essential role in creation, he's never trying to outshine God.
Exactly. And that actually speaks volumes about true authority, wouldn't you say? It's not about demanding recognition. It's about that quiet confidence that can afford to be humble, that finds power in service and collaboration. And if that's the image we're made in, the image of a God who creates through this kind of loving partnership, what does that say about us?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? We get so caught up in the what of creation, like, okay, trees, stars, got it. But this whole conversation has really shifted my focus to the how, like the fact that we're made in the image of a God who chooses to create through relationship, through this beautiful collaboration. I mean, that just opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Right. It completely changes the game. Suddenly, it's not just about what we were made to do, but how we were made to be.
Exactly. Like if we're made in the image of a God who creates through relationship, through love, through partnership, well, maybe that says something about our own capacity for connection, for creativity, for working together to build something amazing.
It's a powerful thought. It's like we're hardwired for connection, for collaboration.
And in Genesis 1.28, we see God blessing Adam and Eve. And it's not just creating them, but bestowing this goodness on them.
Right.
He gives them this paradise, right? This garden overflowing with abundance.
Yeah.
And with that blessing comes a mission, a purpose.
Okay.
It's right there in the text.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
Be fruitful and become many, fill the earth and subdue it, and have in subjection the fish of the sea and the flying creatures of the heavens and every living creature that is moving on the earth.
That always stood out to me.
Yeah.
even in paradise, right?
Yeah.
Like there's work to be done.
There's work to be done, but it's not a burden, is it?
Right.
I don't think so at all. It speaks to this like intrinsic link between humanity and the created order. This idea of stewardship, of caretaking, and I think especially now it's a concept that deserves a closer look.
Definitely. We talk about stewardship a lot these days, right?
We do.
But it's so easy to just let it be another buzzword, you know?
Right, right.
How do we like connect it back to this original calling?
Yeah.
This responsibility that's like woven into our very existence from the beginning.
It starts, I think, with recognizing that we're not just inhabitants of this planet, we're participants in its flourishing.
Yeah.
Genesis tells us that God placed humanity in the garden to cultivate it, to care for it.
Yeah.
And that caretaking extended to all of creation, every living creature that is moving on the earth.
It wasn't just about tending a garden, right?
No.
It was about this much broader responsibility to act as God's representatives
Yes.
in the created world.
Exactly. And you see that theme echoed throughout the Bible, this call to care for the vulnerable, to use resources wisely, to consider the well-being of future generations. It's recognizing that we've been entrusted with something precious, something far greater than ourselves.
It's like we've been handed this like incredible gift, this like vibrant living planet.
Yes.
And it's our responsibility to like ensure its well-being
Yeah.
for generations to come.
That's right. And that sense of responsibility isn't a burden. It's an expression of love.
Yeah.
It flows from recognizing the love and care that went into creating this world in the first place.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Speaking of love and care, I'm struck by the abundance of provision in these next verses. Genesis 1:29-30 says, "Then God said, 'Here I have given to you every seed-bearing plant that is on the entire earth, and every tree with seed-bearing fruit. Let them serve as food for you. And to every wild animal of the earth, and to every flying creature of the heavens, and to everything moving on the earth in which there is life, I have given all green vegetation for food.' And it was so."
It's like this picture of abundance, right? It wasn't just about survival. It was about delight, about enjoyment, this beautiful picture of interconnectedness, this delicate web of life where every creature had its place, every need provided for it was an expression of God's boundless generosity.
It's like God saying, "I've created this incredible feast, now let's enjoy it together."
Yes, and I think there's a message for us in that as well, to approach creation not just with a sense of responsibility, but with that sense of gratitude, a recognition of the abundance and beauty that surrounds us.
And that recognition, that gratitude, it spills over into generosity and to care for others, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's like we're reflecting a little piece of the Creator's own heart.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of day 6, the culmination of this magnificent act of creation. Genesis 1:31 says, "After that, God saw everything he had made, and look, it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, a 6th day."
Very good. I mean, those two words are so simple, but they carry so much weight.
They do.
Not just good, but very good. It speaks to the intentionality, the care, the sheer delight that went into forming every detail of this world.
It's an affirmation of the inherent goodness of creation. And I think it's an invitation, a challenge even, to see that goodness reflected in our own lives and in the world around us.
That's a beautiful thought, to like pause amidst all the busyness and chaos of our lives and just remember that at the heart of it all,
Yeah.
there's this profound goodness, this inherent beauty woven into the fabric of existence.
It's a truth worth clinging to.
It really is, isn't it? Like just this echo through time.
Yeah.
That very good.
Yeah.
You know, even when things are messy,
Yeah.
even when things feel overwhelming,
Right.
that essential goodness is there.
Absolutely.
It's still there. And, you know, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive into Genesis chapter 1. It's incredible how much depth and nuance we can like pull out of just a few verses.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. A testament to the power of these ancient stories.
Yeah.
To really speak to like who we are.
Yeah. And like woven through it all, right?
Yeah.
This idea of stewardship,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
this responsibility to care for creation that goes like all the way back
All the way back.
to those first humans
In the garden.
in the garden. Yeah. It makes you think about our role today.
It really does. If that original paradise was meant to spread to encompass the entire earth as this testament to God's goodness and provision, what does that say about our responsibility to kind of participate in that vision today?
It's a big question, isn't it?
It is a big one.
One that I think we're all still kind of wrestling with
For sure.
as like a species, you know.
Yeah.
But It's a hopeful one, too, don't you think?
Oh, it's so hopeful.
Yeah.
Because it reminds us that we're not just bystanders in this story.
Yeah.
We have the capacity, the agency to be agents of restoration.
Right.
To reflect that same love and care that we see at the dawn of creation.
To be cultivators of beauty protectors, of the vulnerable, wise stewards of these incredible gifts that we've been given.
Yes, and to never lose sight of that essential goodness, that very good that lies at the heart of it all.
It's a powerful image
It is.
to carry with us as we move through our days.
It is.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us for this journey back to the beginning.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
The word made fresh, a daily delight. Manna for today, a podcast shining bright. Manna for today podcast.